Now it befell on summer night, upon a lawn where lingering light yet lay and faded faint and gray, that Leithian danced while he did play. The chestnuts on the turf had shed their flowering candles white and red. Their darkling stood a silent elm, and pale beneath its shadow helm there glimmered faint the umbels thick of hemlocks like a mist, and quick the moths on pallid wings of white, with tiny eyes of fiery light, were fluttering softly, and the voles crept out to listen from their holes. The little owls were hushed and still, the moon was yet behind the hill. Her arms like ivory were gleaming, her long hair like a cloud was streaming, her feet a twinkle wandered roaming in misty mazes in the gloaming, and glowworms shimmered round her feet, and moths in moving garland fleet above her head went wavering wan. And this the moon now looked upon, uprisen, slow and round and white, above the branches of the night. Then clearly thrilled her voice and rang, with sudden ecstasy she sang a song of nightingales she learned, and with her elvish magic turned to such bewildering delight, the moon hung moveless in the night. And this was that Baron heard, and this he saw without a word, enchanted dumb, yet filled with fire, of such a wonder and desire, that all his mortal mind was dim, her magic bound and fettered him, and faint he leaned against a tree. For wandered, way-worn, gaunt was he, his body sick and heart gone cold, gray in his hair, his youth turned old. For those that tread that lonely way, a price of woe and anguish pay. And now his heart was healed and slain, with a new life and with new pain. He gazed, and as he gazed, her hair within its cloudy web did snare, the silver moonbeams sifting white, beneath the leaves and glinting bright, the tremulous starlight of the skies was caught and mirrored in her eyes. Then all his journey's lonely fare, the hungered and the haggard care, the awful mountain stones he stained with blood of weary feet, and gained only a land of ghosts and fear in dark ravines imprisoned sheer. Their mighty spiders wove their webs, old creatures foul with bird-like nebs, that spanned their traps in dizzy air, and filled it with clinging black despair. And there they lived, and the sucked bones lay white beneath on the dank stones. Now all those horrors like a cloud faded from his mind. The waters loud, falling from pine-clad heights no more he heard. Those waters gray and frore, that bitter sweet he drank and filled his mind with madness, all was stilled. He recked not now the burning road, the paths demented where he strode endlessly, and ever new horizons stretched before his view, as each blue ridge with bleeding feet was climbed, and down he went to meet battle with creatures old and strong, and monsters in the dark, and long, long watches in the haunted night, while evil shapes with baleful light and clustered eyes did crawl and snuff beneath his tree. Not half enough the price he deemed to come at last, to that pale moon when day had passed, to those clear stars of elfiness, the heart's ease and the loveliness. Lo, all forgetting he was drawn unheeding toward the glimmering lawn by love and wonder that compelled his feet from hiding. Music welled within his heart, and songs unmade, on themes unthought of, moved and swayed his soul with sweetness. Out he came, a shadow in the moon's pale flame, and day runs flute as sudden stops, as lark before it steeply drops, as grasshopper within the grass, listening for heavy feet to pass. Flee, Leithian! Leithian! From hiding Dayrun called again. A stranger walks the woods, away! But Leithian would wondering stay. Fear had she never felt or known, till fear then seized her all alone, seeing that shape with shagged hair, and shadow long that halted there. Then sudden she vanished like a dream, in dark oblivion a gleam, in hurrying clouds, for she had leapt among the hemlocks tall, and crept under a mighty plant with leaves, all long and dark, whose stems and sheaves upheld 100 umbels fair, and her white arms and shoulders bare, her raiment pale, and in her hair the wild white roses glimmered there, all lay like spattered moonlight hoar, in glooming pools upon the floor. Then stared he wild in dumbness bound, at silent trees, deserted ground. He blindly groped across the glade, to the dark trees' encircling shade, and while she watched with veiled eyes, touched her soft arm in sweet surprise. Like startled moth from dead-like sleep, in sunless nook or bushes deep, she darted swift and to and fro, with cunning that elvish dancers know. About the trunks of trees she twined a path fantastic. Far behind, enchanted, wildered and forlorn, Beren came blundering, bruised and torn. Esgloidine, the elven stream, in which amid tree shadows gleam the stars, flowed strong beneath his feet. Some secret way she found, and fleet passed over and was seen no more, and left him forsaken on the shore. Darkly the sundering flood rolls past. To this my long way comes at last, a hunger and a loneliness, enchanted waters pitiless. A summer waned, and autumn glowed, and Beren in the woods abode, as wild and wary as a fawn that sudden wakes at rustling dawn, and flits from shade to shade and flees the brightness of the sun, yet sees all stealthy movements in the wood, the murmurous warmth in weather's good, the hum of many wings, the call of many a bird, the pattering fall of sudden raindrops above the trees, the windy tide and leafy seas, the creaking of the boughs he heard, but not the song the sweetest bird brought joy or comfort to his heart, a wanderer dumb who dwelt apart, who sought unceasing and in vain to hear and see those things again, a song more fair than nightingale, a wonder in the moonlight pale. In autumn waned, a winter laid the withered leaves in Groden glade. The beeches bare were gaunt and gray, and red their leaves beneath them lay. From cavern pale the moist moon eyes, the white mists that from earth arise, to hide the morrow's sun and drip all the gray day from each twig's tip. By dawn and dusk he seeks her still, by noon and night in valleys chill, nor hears a sound but the slow beat on sodden leaves of his own feet. The wind of winter winds his horn, the misty veil is rent and torn, the wind dies, the starry choirs leap in the silent sky to fires, whose light comes bitter cold and sheer, through domes of frozen crystal clear. A sparkle through the darkling trees, a piercing glint of light he sees, and there she dances all alone upon a treeless knoll of stone. Her mantle blue with jewels white caught all the rays of frosted light. She shone with cold and wintry flame, as dancing down the hill she came, and past his watchful silent gaze, a glimmer as of stars ablaze. And snowdrops rang beneath her feet, and one bird, sudden, late, and sweet, shrilled as she wayward passed along. A frozen brook to bubbling song awoke and laughed, but Beren stood, still bound enchanted in the wood. Her starlight faded, and the night closed o'er the snowdrops glimmering white. Thereafter, on a hillock green, he saw far off the elven sheen of shining limb and jewel bright, often and oft on moonlit night. And Daeron's pipe awoke once more, and soft she sang as once before. Then nigh he stole beneath the trees, and heartache mingled with heart's ease. A night there was when winter died, then all alone she sang and cried, and danced until the dawn of spring, and chanted some wild magic thing that stirred him till it sudden broke the bonds that held him, and he woke to madness sweet and brave despair. He flung his arms to the night air, and out he danced, unheeding fleet, enchanted with enchanted feet. He sped towards the hillock green, the lissom limbs, the dancing sheen. He leapt upon the grassy hill, his arms with loveliness to fill. His arms were empty, she fled. Away, away, her white feet sped, but as she went he swiftly came, and called her with the tender name of nightingales in elvish tongue, that all the woods now sudden rung, Tinuviel, Tinuviel, and clear his voice was as a bell, its echoes wove a winding spell, Tinuviel, Tinuviel. His voice such love and longing filled, one moment stood she, fear was stilled. One moment only, like a flame, he leapt towards her as she stayed, and caught and kissed that elfin maid. As love there woke in sweet surprise, the starlight trembled in her eyes. Ah, Leithian, more fair than any child of men, O loveliest maid of elfiness, what madness does thee now possess? Ah, lissom limb and shadowy hair, and chaplet of white snowdrops there, O starry diadem and white pale hands beneath the moonlight. She left his arms and slipped away just at the breaking of the day.